Hello everybody, I am back. First I'll start off with my list. I didn't do SmackDown, Raw, or ECW because there wasn't really... I'll tell you the truth, I was lazy and I couldn't be bothered doing it. But let's do Impact. I promise I'll try to do the other ones, but it's just so much easier with Impact because there's so much more stuff to actually count. Anyway, we had 29 segments. We had 69 name drops. Of those 69 name drops, 57 were sacrificed. That means it's up by 2 from last week. We had 5 to the backs. 24 times not discussing the match. That's pretty sad. You know, every promotion really does it, but this was just a lot. 3 depressed personalities, 14 suicide-inducing moments, which is down by 10 from last week, and I will say Impact was a bit more enjoyable this week for me. Cornette being great only twice. We had 6 run-ins or brawls, or someone was there and then someone else ran in and attacked them. So we had 6 of those. We had 6 matches, which was up by 2. We had 5 clean finishes and we had 1 dirty, which was reasonable. Quote of the night was actually it was a tie for 2. I don't think this would ever make sense, and that's tied with Sting's quote, "This place is a loony bin," and I gotta say, my sentiments are the same. Moment of the night is also a moment of the year candidate for me, and at the end of the year, maybe I'll do a thing where I'll talk about Tina's moment of the year. And the moment of the night, I wouldn't make it quote to the night, but it was just way too long, because it was a promo by one Scott Steiner, where he discussed mathematics with us. If you didn't see it, you've got to watch that. That is one of the best promos I've ever seen. It was just amazing. Anyway, on to dream matches. I'm always asked what would be your dream match, and I couldn't really put it down to one. And so I made a list of about 10, and they're all there for different reasons. Some match has a similar reason to another one, but mainly they're there for different reasons. And some are obvious, and some people have said, and once one person says it, everyone's like, "Oh, I want to see this match too." Some I don't think anybody's really mentioned. First on my list would be Sting versus The Undertaker, and we all know why. They were pretty much just they took on the same role during the 90s, and they're in the same role now. They have a very not a similar, it's a similar gimmick, but it would just be an interesting match to see because we've never seen them two in the ring together. Next one, a lot of people, I don't think I've heard anybody say this, and that would be Undertaker versus the Great Muta. Great Muta, circa 2001 to present day, and Undertaker probably around the same period. and it's because similar reason with Muta, the Great Muta is pretty much the Undertaker of Japan, and so it would be really interesting to see. And I think if you did have that kind of match, you would see a lot of interesting spots, like Undertaker doing the kneeling thing, or the sit-up, and Muta would hit him with a shining wizard, or Undertaker would reverse it and turn into a Goga-Plata or something. He's been doing a lot of that recently. Or Undertaker would go for the old school, and the Great Muta would hit him with the mist. So it would be. And they're both experts when it comes to ring psychology, and they both got amazing gimmicks, and they're both amazing in the ring, so it would be really good to see. And the reason you might say, well, Muta was a better worker back before 2001, and I say past 2001 because the Shining Wizard, that would be a big part of the match for me. Muta matches just aren't the same without it. It's just a move I like a lot. Next one, a lot of people aren't going to agree with, and that's Samoa Joe versus John Cena. Samoa Joe probably is the top guy in TNA right now. John Cena's the top guy in the WWE. John Cena isn't the best wrestler. Joe is. Joe really had to work hard to get where... I'm not saying John Cena didn't, but John Cena really was, from a very young age, plucked and put into WWE developmental, and just raised as their top guy, whereas Joe, he had to go through independence and then got into Ring of Honor, and that led to going to TNA. So his path was a lot longer, and even when he got to TNA, he was never. I mean, he was pushed, but he was held back from the title for so long. And they went to the same wrestling school, and so seeing them, and they are friends. So seeing them work together would be really interesting because they are both pretty good brawlers, and Cena can be carried to a good match. Sorry about that. Next on my thing would be Ian Rotten versus Vince McMahon. I bet none of you were expecting me to say that. This is like a yin-yang type of thing. They're both wrestling promoters. They've both wrestled in some pretty good matches. They are pretty much the same thing, but they represent two opposite sides of that same thing. And that would be IWA. It would be independent promotions which emphasize on wrestling and things like that, as opposed to sports entertainment, which emphasizes on a major promotion which is emphasis is on sports entertainment and making money and things like that. So and Vince McMahon can have an entertaining match, and I just think even though it wouldn't happen, it would be an interesting fight to see. Next two would be obvious. That's Angle versus Bret Hart and Angle versus Danielson. Work that out. Then we got HBK versus Sting. You could probably work out why, because I've never seen them in the ring together. They're both born-again Christians, both very similar. Both were top guys during the 90s and remain that today. HBK versus Danielson, because Danielson is a student of Shawn Michaels, and if you watch Shawn Michaels' DVD, he does a backflip in his first match. And when I saw, you see Danielson do that, and it's like, wow, he looks like Shawn Michaels when he did that in his first match. And I think it would just be a really interesting match to see. Then we have Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig versus Kurt Angle. I guess you can all wonder why, or guess why. And the last match on it would be the Necro Butcher versus Mick Foley. And I mean, a proper death match. I do like death matches from time to time, and I think Necro Butcher really is today what Mick Foley was about 10, 15 years ago. And so to see them have a brawl would be really interesting stuff. When we saw Mick Foley and Samoa Joe brawl, that was also interesting. I mean, every time Mick Foley comes back, he does at least something entertaining. If it's not a good match, it's an entertaining match. Necro Butcher is the same. If it's not a good match, at least he's somewhat entertaining in it. And I think in these two guys, there's not really much of a limitation to what they wouldn't do. And but I mean, an argument could be made that it wouldn't be a good match because you wouldn't have as much because they're both guys who rely heavily on someone doing something else to them, as opposed to their styles basically wouldn't mesh. I mean, they have the same style, but it wouldn't be able to. The way they work, they wouldn't be able to work well together. Like you could take, because as I said, there wouldn't be enough give and take. Because Mick Foley just takes punishment, Necro Butcher takes punishment, and so you would really be in a situation where neither of them would be able to really dish out the type of punishment that the fans would want to see these guys take. Like Mick Foley works better in matches where someone's just beating the hell out of him. Same thing with Necro Butcher, but it would still be, if worked correctly, a very entertaining match. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'll be back later, but I've got a lot of DVDs to watch. I picked up about 12 DVDs from Smart Mark and ROH, so I'll be off watching them. Thank you and goodbye.